Okay, Underworld Awakening in 3D, hence the 3D glasses, but it's always in real 3D. The nice about the Underworld movies is they actually keep a decent amount of continuity. This one would actually take place quite a bit after 2. Because remember, 1 and 2 happen like right on top of each other, then 3 takes place before 1, so 4 takes place pretty much right after 2. There's been a massive purging, so essentially the humans have begun to hunt and kill the vast majority of Lycans and vampires. There's very, very few vampires left and very, very few Lycans left. Or so one's led to believe. They actually capture Celine and Michael Corvin. So next you know, Celine wakes up and she's in a cryogenic chamber. She escapes this place called Antigen. Now the symbol for Antigen is large A little g. And as she escapes, someone else escapes too. And she keeps on seeing things through her eyes. So she has some weird sort of, I think it's clairvoyance? Because I think it's because clairvoyance, not clairsentience, because clairsentience would be the ability to hear. But she has this weird sort of like, she can see through this little person's eyes. Has no idea who it is. She ends up, finally rescuing her when they're being attacked by what are referred to as lower Lycans. There's a group of Lycans that still exist, but they're diseased and they're essentially starving. So they don't look as impressive as the other ones. That's one of the complaints. They do a decent amount more in the CGIing of werewolves and less of the actual really great prosthetics that they've done in the past. They do quite a bit of that too. So you find out it's a little girl who's like 12, who, as Kate put it when they first saw this girl, it looks like a little version of her. So essentially, yeah, it's kind of her daughter. But she's been in cryogenic sleep for the better part of 12 years. They get taken to a coven. That coven, of course, gets attacked. They're assuming by humans. No, by Lycans. And then all of a sudden, a Lycan the size of Optimus Prime kind of breaks in. This Lycan is huge. And pretty much trashes Kate Beckinsale's character. That's then when you find out more about the Antigen group. And who they actually are a part of. So all in all, decent amount when it comes to the action. They do a decent job when it comes to making the vampires have that weird sort of overly aristocratic, not wanting to get their hands dirty feel to them. Now, my one complaint is ever since the second Underworld movie, where Kate Beckinsale essentially pushed the elder vampire into the propeller blades, and the Scott Speedman, Michael Corvin character essentially tore the head off of the elder werewolf, and they really haven't been able to top that for a finish. They do a pretty good job, when Kate destroys the Omega werewolf, and when her daughter defeats, her higher level werewolf opponent. So all in all, it's a good capstone when it comes to the series. Do they take full advantage of the 3D? Not as much. I feel like they could have done a lot more with it. I felt like the 3D was kind of an after effect. They do some of like the stuff flying at you, and they do some of the foreground background differentiation, but I felt like they probably could have done a bit more with it to really make that 3D really, really pop and seem like it's really something, that was really important and necessary for the story. There is a moment when she's attacking the main headquarters, that I kind of almost had a slight, like, Matrix flashback. Because, she's walking in there with essentially a bunch of weapons and a long black trench coat. But it was done really well. Seeing Kate Beckinsale essentially just destroy her way through a decent number of humans and a lot of Lycans. Very, very impressive. Now, if you're a huge fan of the Michael Corvin character, the Scott Speedman character, his part is very, 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 very truncated. And that's all I'm going to say about his part until I do my slight spoiler section. So, if you like the previous ones, this one's actually pretty good. I still say the second one is still the best one out of all of them, But this one, pretty good capstone for the series. That's it for the regular portion of the review. I'm now going to go through a slight amount of spoilers. So, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, time for a slight amount of spoilers. I have read in some sections where they said that Scott Beaton, the character, Michael Corvin, was dead. That was, of course, part of the Yahoo fun facts about the movie. And of course, like always, Yahoo was wrong. He's not dead. He's in suspended animation of the whole movie. He's in the beginning, and then at the very end, he's released from suspended animation. And it ends with that scenario where you have Kate Beckinsale and her non-named daughter. Essentially, they just call her, I think she's subject 2. Or subject 1. She's subject 1 or subject 2. So they never really give her a name. So you have her, Kate Beckinsale, and then the male vampire lead. And Michael Corvin has escaped. The last thing that the little girl saw, when she was able to see through his eyes, was him escaping off the helipad. So they set it up perfectly for there to be a 5th Underworld movie, which would probably actually deal with Kate Beckinsale, Scott Speedman, and their hybrid daughter, probably trying to make their way through the post-wave sort of effect, and that the group Antigen, which is essentially a Lycan-created company, has been giving Lycan essentially something that makes them relatively immune to silver over long-term injections, as well as can increase their strength, stamina, and size. So, you know, pretty solid movie. Definitely looking forward to do a 5th one, and it's roughly about as good as this one. I'll definitely go see it. It probably shouldn't be in 3D.